What the hell is going on?
Someone hit him. Maybe our people got free.
This particular scene, Rick, Daryl, Bob, and Glenn have managed to make their way back to the train car to free the others.
We're relieved that we see Rick because he's alive, but we don't know what we're walking into. Rick takes down a bunch of walkers with a gun, and then we just kind of run into it.
And we're basically just fighting our way through everything to get to the fence that is bordering Terminus.
Come on! Go, go, go!
This particular sequence in the script is actually described as it's like storming the beach at Normandy. There's, you know, smoke, and you've got the walkers in the background and the gunfire, and everybody's running.
We basically caused mayhem and killed as many people as we can and killed as many walkers as we found.
Like Rick said at the end of 4, that, you know, they don't know who they're screwing with. That's exactly what we're doing right now, is showing them that they don't know who they're screwing with.
This is one of the biggest scenes we've ever shot. Every single character, every one of our characters from the rail car has a moment within it.
And the way these sequences are done, as you can see right now, we're shooting a thing with Norman and breaking down into little isolated pockets of kills. And then when these are all laid in, it looks like it's all happening simultaneously.
I think the inspiration for most of these weapons were prison weapons. They're very shiv-oriented. Anything you bring into prison can be made into a weapon.
Maggie's making a wooden shiv using Herschel's watch, so she's grinding away at the wood of the boxcar.
Michonne makes this sharpened quarterstaff.
Greg came up with the weapon for Michonne. Originally, it was in the script that she had a spike on the end of it. And then Greg said, why don't we put one on each end?
It's like, okay, yeah, that's absolutely the weapon you would have.
The Rosita and the earring thing was also in the script written by Scott Gimple. The earrings are metal hoops, and we actually bent them out and put them through the belt, and it was a real weapon right away.
It's awesome. And when it's covered in blood and dripping with blood, it's just badass.
It's the most survivalist episode that we have had yet.
Luckily, within the script, each of these kills is pretty well written out. So, you know, we kind of have planned out each beat of which ones will be digital, which ones are going to be practical. Monty, who's our stunt coordinator, he'll work with the actors to say, you know, this is how it should swing. And then, you know, I'll be watching to make sure that, okay, did it come close enough for the digital extension to hit? So when we apply our digital effects to it, it's going to pay off.
Every actor on this show, every person over there that touches a weapon gets weapons training.
The way it goes in is like that, right?
They give you an opportunity to test shoot the weapon, to feel the weight of the weapon. They tell you all the tips and tricks about the weapon.
So they know how it reacts, what it looks like, how dangerous it is, where the shells are gonna go. They all know everything.
That works, doesn't it?
Training, good acting, and the ability to work together well makes everybody safe.
Carol, Rambo, Rambette, whatever you want to call her, but she's badass.
The tanks were built out of foam, and then there's a lot of barrels around that have fuel in them. We basically loaded them up with some explosives. It wasn't a huge explosion, and we just got a huge effect out of it. The buildings are like 3 stories high, and we were easily doubling that.
Greg was telling me that not only do you have the initial explosion, but you have other explosions within that explosion.
It was actually 4 different explosions to break up the amount of concussion and prolong the look of it.
We're going to add some like flaming body parts being blown back from the shock wave of the fire, and then, you know, body parts falling from the walkers that were really close to the explosion.
From the moment the explosion happens, pretty much there is always smoke. You know, in every scene that we're in, there's a piece of smoke coming.
It's a machine. It uses a propylene glycol fluid. We're subject to whatever the wind is doing. We're picking the spots, putting smoke out into the wind so that it drifts into our shot. Hopefully recreates the effect that something is burning.
So she could go like this.
Yeah. Greg Nicotero is the best. He's one of these irritating people who is amazing at everything he turns his hand to. And also, he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
Greg is, he's basically become our producing director. So having Greg here guiding the first episode, it's a comfort level for the cast, for the crew.
You're going to come up here and see him.
Yeah.
We're in good hands, especially with Gimple writing it and Nicotero directing it.
Greg is fantastic because Greg, like Scott, know these characters, they love these characters.
The reason why the fans love this show so much is because it's made by fans. Greg is a huge enthusiast. Scott Gimple's a fan. We are as well. We're all great enthusiasts.
When the scripts come out, I always love, because not only with the cast but the whole crew, you'll see them just reading it because they want to know what happens next. They're just like the fans. It's really fun to be back and see what kind of crazy adventures we get to go on for the season.